Good evening, Facebook
evening.
friends.
As always, some stupid technical issue.
Oh, well.
The music kept playing.
It's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. Welcome.
Welcome, everybody.
Happy March.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like we said, welcome. It is our Facebook Live, Tea for All Reasons. Spring is in the air, and you would not know that if you looked outside here. You got what, 3 or 4 inches of snow?
Yeah.
We got a couple inches of snow at home too. And it was a beautiful spring day yesterday.
It was like 60 yesterday.
Yep.
I think it was beautiful. We were outside without coats.
Yep.
And look what we have.
I saw folks in DC in shorts.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful day, and then it was like blizzard this morning.
And it's going to be 16 degrees tonight.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
anyway,
little
roller coaster of weather.
That's the way it goes here in Virginia. So anyway, welcome to Spring is in the Air. We do have great things spring themed and St. Patrick's themed to show you tonight, and we're looking forward to that. Before we get into that, I wanted to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Mom posted yesterday about my husband's procedure. He had a cardiac ablation because he has been dealing with atrial fibrillation. Everything went great. He's doing fine, which is why I'm here today. I left Molly at home to take care of him, but he's doing great. And thank you so much for your lovely comments and your prayer and concern for him and for us. And it was overwhelming to see how many comments. Yes, I know. Dad was giving me signals. Dad's doing camera like he usually does. And my son is here. He didn't want to be on camera, so he's going to be mad now. But he's here in Molly's place to handle your comments. So if you have any comments or questions as we go through the evening, feel free to chime in the comments, and he will. I know. I'm getting the dirty, the evil eye over here.
The smiley evil eye.
He's like, Mom, I said. Anyway, if you have questions or comments, chime in the comments there on the page, and he will get those to us so that we can respond to your comments or your questions or whatever. And so with that, we will get started right to it.
Okay.
So I have a few announcements like I always do when we start. First thing, for those of you who are quarterly subscribers, that's coming up. And April 5th is when when the billing will go out. I'm actually going to be out of town that week from the 3rd to the 9th. And so I will pack up your packages after I get back. So they'll probably go in the mail the 11th or 12th of April. I can hear that game downstairs. He didn't turn it off. Yeah, so the 11th or 12th is when the subscription boxes will go out, and so I just wanted to remind you that that's coming up. And I no longer offer this quarterly subscriptions through the website. If you're interested in a subscription box, you can email me at info@teaforallreasons.com. I have those set up in PayPal now, and so if you're interested in that, I can send you the information about the box, how much it is and all of that, and you can sign up that way. But there's no mechanism through the website anymore for signing up for that. But for those who had that subscription, I continue to honor that and do it, and I enjoy doing that. I think you're going to get some nice teas in April.
Yeah.
So April subscription. So the spring sampler, if you haven't been on the website in a while, the spring sampler is now available in the shop, and I meant to write down the teas that are in that because it changes from year to year, and I do not remember the teas that are in the spring sampler. But if you go to the website, teaforallreasons.com, into the shop, it's right there on the front page, and you can take a look to see what the teas are.
I got 2 of those.
Yeah, honestly, well, springtime blossoms for sure. And I honestly cannot remember what the other 5 teas are that are in the spring sampler.
But they're probably all good.
They're all good. And then I added, I have enough Earl Grey tea varieties that I added an Earl Grey sampler in the shop as well. And to be honest, I don't remember what all of those teas are either, because I have more than 6 Earl Grey varieties, but I selected 6 to go in that sampler. But that sampler is now listed in the shop as well. And so wanted to let you know that. So that is done. Checking my list.
Mm-hmm.
That is done.
Yep.
I'll come back to this.
Okay.
I mentioned this in the group that I'm going to offer pre-orders for the Mother's Day gift box, and this is what it's going to look like. And it has a nice ribbon to keep it closed, Mother's Day ribbon. And what is inside the box this year is 3 1-ounce tins of tea. And the teas are Mother's Bouquet, which is a black tea, Granny's Green Apple, which is a green tea, and Mama's Spicy Carrot Cake, which is a rooibos.
Yeah,
so I hope you see the theme in the teas.
Yeah.
Mom, Grandma, Mama.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the 3 teas. They get 1 ounce in the tin, along with the tea sack number 1, the perfect cup of teaspoon, and the brewing instructions. And so all of these items are in that box, and this is what it'll look like for your Mother's Day recipient. I'm gonna do pre-orders for this. I found a plug-in for the website that does pre-orders.
Oh, good.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully it'll work the way it's supposed to. So I'm gonna open up, I'm trying to remember the date. I'm opening up pre-orders for the Mother's Day gift box on March 21st. I think that's the Monday. They're not going to ship out before the end of April. So I am going to hold them. Like in the past, when you've ordered, I've shipped it out immediately. But in this case, because this is an actual pre-order, hopefully, if the plug-in works right, they will ship out that last couple days of April to arrive to your recipient or you before Mother's Day.
When is Mother's Day this year?
The 8th.
The 8th.
May 8th is Mother's Day.
Okay.
And so if you want it shipped directly to your recipient, I can do that. If you put a note in checkout, I will do a handwritten note to your recipient from you.
Nice.
And I won't include the packing slip. So normally I include the packing slip, but for the Mother's Day gift box, I will not include the packing slip, but I will include that note, unless it's going directly to you. If it's going to you so that you can give it to your recipient, then you will get the packing slip. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And so that's the Mother's Day gift box. And if you have any questions about that, you can email me about that as well. info@teaforallreasons.com is my email. And then the giveaway. We do have a giveaway tonight. Oh, I wanted to show you. I have tins. If you've been on the website or in the group, you know that I've added a 3-ounce tin to all of the tea listings. Oh, I didn't put a brewing instructions on the back of that one. So these are what they look like. Green is for the regular blends. The gold is for the specialty blends, just like the bags. And then silver for any decaf. They hold 3 ounces of tea. And then someone asked about refilling the tins. If you buy a 2-ounce bag, for sure that's going to fit in here. I'm not doing special packaging for refills. You would just buy the tea in the bag. For some teas, the 4-ounce bag would fit in the
Probably
tin.
a rooibos.
For sure the rooibos, some blacks would fit.
Smaller leaf.
If it's got rose petals in it, then you got to get a 2-ounce bag.
Yeah.
Rose petals are really bulky and take up a lot of space, and so I don't think you'd be able to get a 4-ounce bag of anything that's got rose petals in it.
No.
In here, an herbal will fit in here.
Yeah, vanilla lemongrass won't, and after dark won't. You don't get 2 ounces in
Right,
that one
right. Because of the
peel
chamomile.
And the chamomile, yeah.
But most of the other herbals are really small, and you would be able to get a 4-ounce bag of the herbals into the 3-ounce tin. But these are available in the shop now. And with that, the giveaway this month is a 3-ounce tin, and this is what it looks like. It's got the ribbon to keep the lid closed. Although the lid is pretty secure, it's got a nice, it's a pretty snug fit.
This way you know it hasn't been tampered with.
But yeah, it's the tamper-resistant ribbon.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is the giveaway. The blend is, the tea is Luck of the Irish, which I'm going to show you later.
It's so good.
It's really good.
Yeah, and
Excuse me.
very subtle. I mean, someone asked on the website or on the Facebook page if it had a Bailey's flavor element to it, and I said no. It's just the wonderful minty.
Yeah, it's chocolate and mint.
Chocolate and mint, but very subtle, very mild.
Yeah, but I'll explain it
Yeah.
in more detail when I do the showcase of the teas. But this is the giveaway tea, and the key phrase is Tin Luck, all one word, Tin Luck. Are the tins labeled? Yes. This is what the tin will look like when it comes to you. It's got the logo label. It doesn't have the weight on the logo label because I haven't made the 3-ounce label yet. I handwrite 3 ounces on the name of the tea label that has the ingredients, and then the brewing instructions on the back. Just like the bag.
Yeah.
It's just like the bag, but on the tin. And so this exact tin is going to be the giveaway. And I'll draw the names tomorrow after sometime in the afternoon, and I'll post that video with Molly when we draw out of the Tea for All Reasons mug.
Yeah.
So that's the giveaway. And the 3-ounce tins. Checking my list. And I answered that. Okay, and then I wanted to show you real quick. I showcased these on the group page, the new mugs that came in. But I did want to show you because they look a little different when I'm able to hold it. You can get the scale of how they actually look. So the first one is this changing of the guard mug, and they wrap around the little Beefeater band. Wraps around the whole mug. This is, I believe, an 8-ounce mug. Yeah. And I have 2. I can't remember how many I have. I can't remember, but I have more than one of these. I'll get to this one in a minute. And then I have the Jane Austen Obstinate Headstrong Girl mug. This one's in blue. And there's also one in white, and it's got the wraparound with the floral design that wraps around. And these are 10-ounce mugs, and I have several of these as well in both colors. And then I'll show the tin. And then this is it's called a lunch tin, but it's got the changing of the guard with a London cityscape on the front, and it's just a plain tin. On the inside is empty, and it would be great for anything.
Yeah. They call it a lunch tin, so I guess you could pack your lunch in it, but a small batch of cookies or truffles.
Yep. Yeah, handmade candies or whatever.
Yeah.
Or even just decoration on your shelf.
Biscuits.
English
biscuits.
Yep. I have 2 of these. I know for sure I only have 2 of these. And then I did want to show, these are the 4 Seasons mugs. And it's the same, the London Beefeater band with the cityscape, but you can see the, excuse me, the seasonal motif. So this is the autumn mug. You can see the leaves are falling, and especially down at the bottom, you can see the fall leaves. So that's autumn. This one is summer. I had to look.
Yeah.
Summer, so it's got the clear blue sky with the London motif. Winter. Nope, spring. This is rain.
Oh, it's
And
rain.
you can see the puddles and
Gotcha.
the tulips down at the bottom. So where the
course.
leaves were at the bottom on the autumn one, on the spring, It's got the little flowers and the puddles on the bottom in the rain. And then, here's another question. And then this one's the winter one. I love the winter one with the snow on the dark skyline.
Yeah, I like that too. I love all of them.
I know, right?
They're so
pretty. Anyway, so I'm selling these individually, but I will sell them as a set of 4. And so if you find the mugs listed, they're all 4 in one listing in the website, and you select the one you want or the set of 4 if you want the set of 4. And if you buy the set of 4, they're slightly discounted. Where can I order the Jane Austen mug? On the website, tforallreasons.com, and you can search on obstinate. I think I put Jane Austen as a tag on the listing. But if you go to the mugs section, you'll find all of the mugs that I carry.
Yeah, the main sections on the left-hand side, they would go to necessities, right?
Yeah, under necessities. Yeah, so if you're on your computer on the website, the menu is on the left side of the page.
Right.
If you're on your phone, you have to, at the top of the page, there's a thing that says filters. If you tap on filters, it will bring the drop-down menu down so that you can find those things, and it's under necessities and then mugs.
Yeah.
And you'll find the mug section. And then the last mug I wanted to show you before St. Patrick's Day is this cute little shamrock motif mug. It's got the shamrocks on both sides and then a nice, the green on the lip. This is a sweet little mug. 6 ounces.
Probably 6 ounces.
It's very small.
Yeah.
And I only have 1 left. I had 2, and this is the only one that I have left, and it is available in the shop. Are the mugs bone china? Yes.
They are. And they're from England.
And they are from England. Well, actually, they were made in China, but they were designed in England.
All right.
But they are bone china. And I think these are as well. Well, these aren't labeled, so I don't know. But I'm assuming they are. They have the same feel.
Yeah, they do.
So yes. And the Irish mug, I believe, I don't know what that is. That feels sturdier.
Oh, that's
It's Bewley.
Bewley. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure if I don't know if this one's bone china. I suspect it isn't.
It's not as delicate.
It's not as
feeling.
delicate. These definitely have a more delicate feel
Yeah.
of bone china.
But it's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice
Yep,
one.
they're nice mugs. Anyway, so those are the new things in the shop. And I was going to bring cozies and everything, but I thought I'd just keep it simple. But I have the tea cozies still and all the other necessities.
Right.
The usual suspects.
Yeah, very good.
And I'm going to show, so when we do our tea demo, I'm going to show the tea sacks so that you can see how those work, and the spoon and the tea bag squeezer. And so that's it for me.
Okay, all right.
So Mom,
Am I on?
take it away.
Okay.
So Mom's going to do the baking demo, and we're just going to press on ahead with the baking demo.
And we're excited. I'm excited because, and I know I kind of kept y'all in suspense of what we were going to do tonight, but I'm going to demonstrate how to make Irish soda bread. And it can be a tea offering.
Sure.
We're serving it at our small group dinner on Tuesday and probably enjoying some of it at our St. Patrick's Day dinner, but it's good even toasted in the morning with butter on it. That's one of our favorite ways of having it. Yes.
Yes, Pop is nodding his
Pop
head.
is nodding his
Yes.
head. Okay, so we're
Okay.
over here.
Oh, and after the baking demo, we will take a short little break.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back and do the tea demo. So there will be a short break.
Okay. Well, I wanted to give you all first just a little bit of a history of Irish soda bread. I don't know if any of you have made it before, but one thing to be aware, this is authentic Irish soda bread that I'm making. If you want to go back to the early days of Irish soda bread, it was made with more of a wheat flour. It was called brown soda bread. I am making white soda bread. But the reason why white soda bread wasn't made as much back then is because it was more expensive. And so the working class really used the brown flour, or the whole wheat flour, more often. But Just to give you a little bit of history, that the Irish soda bread actually began back in around 1835, and that was after the Royal Baking Company established baking soda, and it came into being and was used for soda bread. And the Irish introduced the bread to lower class households primarily in Ireland because their ovens were scarce. Soda and buttermilk were desirable because of their effectiveness in creating a plump loaf in a cast iron pot, and sometimes it was cooked over a fire rather than an oven. So the two basic kinds, as I said, are the brown soda bread and the white soda bread. But if you go back even further than that, actually the origin of the soda bread is credited to the Native Americans. They used soda to leaven their bread, and it was originally a potash that they used for soda in their bread. And but then when baking soda was created, then that was used in baking. So I thought that was really interesting. And some of the basic ingredients for an Irish soda bread is flour and where is it? Okay, flour and buttermilk and salt and soda. That's the basic recipe. But we're doing a little bit different one. I'm not doing one that probably other Americans would do, where they would add eggs. But what happens when you add eggs is it becomes more like a cake. And this is definitely more like a bread, and that's what we want to achieve. So this recipe is, I'm going to renew it, post it again on the Facebook Food for All Reasons, but it's also in the Food for All Reasons website. However, there's a typo there, or a something that's missing there that I need to go back and correct, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. So what we need is 4.5 cups of flour, and I use King Arthur flour, and King Arthur flour I have found doesn't need to be sifted, but the recipe doesn't call for sifted flour anyway. But it's a wonderful quality unbleached flour. And then we're going to add to the flour 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, and then we're going to add, it is 2 teaspoons of baking powder and 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 1 teaspoon of salt, and I believe it's 1 tablespoon of caraway seeds. Now, some of you may not be familiar with caraway seeds. This is what they look like. You can get them in the spice aisle, and they're very, very unique in their flavoring, but they're really, I think, essential to make it a real soda bread.
Yeah, it doesn't taste right without them.
It doesn't taste right without them. So you do want the caraway seeds. Add those. And so I'm going to do this with, I'm going to mix these together. And then to that, I'm going to add a teaspoon of orange zest. And this is really another vital ingredient. I've never done it with lemon. I've always used orange. It's what the recipe calls for. And it just gives it a little added flavor that I think is wonderful.
And that's fresh.
It is fresh zest. Yes. And then raisins are optional. I really like the raisins. I know some people don't. You can leave them out. It is optional, but I like having the raisins. And the recipe calls for 1 to 2 cups, and this is more like a cup, maybe a little bit more than a cup. All right. I wanted to get all those dry ingredients ready because the actual first step in preparation is to do your wet ingredients. So, except for the buttermilk, we're going to add the buttermilk as we're adding the dry ingredients. So the first thing is the sour cream. And I used fully fat sour cream. I don't think I've used low fat before. In baking, I just think it's better to use the full fat. Now I have used skim milk in a recipe, but I just think they're always better when you use the full fat. Okay. And then see, this does have eggs.
Yeah, I know you were talking about
I was
no
talking
eggs, and
about
I was
the
looking
no
at the bowl
eggs,
of eggs
now
over
I'm
there.
doing the eggs.
It's got eggs.
Well, never mind. Can we edit that out?
Nope, it's live. You're live.
So you see, I'm American and I'm using an American recipe.
How much sour cream?
It was 1 cup.
Yeah, 1 cup.
All right, so now we're going to make noise. I'm always telling hubby when he's in his office when I'm getting ready to make noise. And it's really just to incorporate the wet ingredients. You're not really beating them. You're not trying to add air to them or anything. You're just kind of incorporating them together. Okay. And now what we're going to do is add our dry ingredients. And let me get a cup here. We're going to do about 1/2 cup at a time. And as we add that, we're going to add a little bit of the buttermilk. It is 1.25 cups. And as I said, I'll post the recipe for you, hopefully tomorrow. Or if you go back on the Facebook page, you'll see that I posted it last year. And if you go to foodforallreasons.com and do a search for Irish soda bread, you'll find it there. But before I go any further, let me tell you what I found when I was looking at the recipe. When it came to mixing the dry ingredients, it does not list the sugar. So make sure you add the sugar. The sugar is in the ingredients, but it's not in the instructions. So don't forget the sugar. Now, one thing about this this dough, it's very moist. It's going to be very sticky. It's not like a real bread. It's not like a cake batter either. You'll see, it's real different. And it is full fat buttermilk too. You can get skimmed buttermilk, but this is full fat. And when this is done, it's going to go into a greased pan. And what I use is a 9-inch, and I use the removable bottom. And I'll show you why when we get to the showing you the finished product. I made one earlier today so that I could actually show you. And I did that because this is going to bake for 50 to 60 minutes, and we knew we wouldn't have time.
How many eggs?
2 eggs. Oh, are you seeing the questions on?
Yeah, you can see the comments. I think Jesse's playing Candy Crush.
What?
He's calling me out.
We're on to you, bud. Okay, we're almost done. Thank you. And the last little bit of buttermilk. Woo! I'm going to speed that up a little bit. And it says, once everything is incorporated, then mix on low an additional 5 to 10 rotations, which is probably at this point. Gonna get some of that off of there. Okay. Now this is going to be really, really sticky. All right. Now the best way to just get this off here, see how sticky that is? It's almost like a bread dough that you would need to add more flour to, you know, in order to knead it. You know, it's funny because I've made this a number of times, but the very first time I made it, I had no idea what I was doing. I was following the directions, but there's something about actually watching someone make it where you can actually see what the consistency is and how dry it is or how wet it is, and I had no idea what I was doing. And I took it out of the bowl and put it on a floured board because I thought, you know, I was going to have to knead it. And I realized how sticky it was, and I thought, man, if I get this bread to where it would be kneaded, I would have to probably add another cup of flour, and I knew that wasn't right. So I just kind of followed the directions and put it in the pan, and I was amazed. I really was amazed. And on the website, I actually have pictures of my discovery along the way because I had sticky fingers. I was trying to do it with my hands, and I was trying to put flour on my hands to keep them from sticking to the dough and everything. And then I realized, no, this is a totally different kind of bread.
So someone asked, will the American version that you're doing, will it be more cakey than a traditional Irish soda bread?
Probably, yes, but we've had it so many times that we don't get the feeling that it's a real cakey. I mean, it's definitely going to be more cakey, but not.
It's not like cake.
It's not like cake at all. And we'll show you the finished product when we get this all sorted and in the oven and everything. Show you a slice of it so you can see. But look at how sticky this is. And this, you know, this is not a cake dough by any means. This is more like a bread dough. I know. You just have to be patient. Get it all out. And I don't know about you, but I'm funny about getting my fingers in stuff like this.
Yeah. I know, I don't like to do it. I think it's because we have nails.
Yeah, I just have never been one to, I mean, I'll put my fingers in a meatloaf maybe and mix a meatloaf, but nowadays I'm doing it with rubber gloves. So.
Hey, someone ordered Luck of the Irish and it went out of stock, and then someone else signed up for the wait list. While Mom has been over here, I quickly went into the shop and I added more inventory because I didn't realize it was low, so it's back in stock.
Oh, good. Don't want anybody to be
I
disappointed.
know, I meant to check on the teas this afternoon and I forgot.
All right, I'm not going to fuss with this too much. I just want to get it. Okay, now, as best you can, just start, and this is a greased pan, by the way. It's greased with shortening. I did not flour it as well. It's just greased. So just get that into all the edges as best you can. It's a sticky mess, but it's going to be worth it. Some of you are saying, why didn't you just use your fingers? But then it wouldn't be any better. You'd have it all over your fingers, not making any progress either. And some of you may also wonder, is that pan tall enough? Because, you know, when you're doing a cake, if you had this much batter in a cake, in a pan like this, it would be running over. That's the other thing. This will not run over because it's a bread dough, not a cake dough, not a cake batter.
There's no winning.
Nope.
There's no, see, I don't, it just doesn't pay to get your fingers in there because you're not going to make any progress. I'm going to kind of move some of these raisins around. Okay, I think that's as good as we can do, don't you?
Looks pretty good.
Looks pretty good. I'm trying to get it so
Yeah.
it doesn't have too much of a dome on the top.
Yeah.
But I think that's about all we can do. Okay.
And your hands were clean before we started.
They were. I had just washed them. All right.
Okay, and this goes into the oven
Nope,
for...
not yet.
Oh, it doesn't go in the oven. Oh, no,
Nope.
pardon me.
Yep, not yet. Okay, now the next thing you do is you score it. And what I have found is that it says to use a knife and score it about 4 inches across, and you can do a cross if you want to, about 4 inches and about 3/4 of an inch deep. And I find that it's easier if you get the knife. Actually, what I'm going to do is get a little bit of sticky on there. Get the knife, and it'll score better if it has some flour on it.
Can you do this in a loaf pan?
Yes, I
Yes.
think you can. Uh-huh.
Will the cooking time be different? Because it's a...
Yeah.
I'm thinking the cooking time will be different in a loaf pan because it's deeper.
Yeah, I think so too.
I've never seen an Irish soda bread in a loaf shape. It's always been round.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
And some folks have I actually saw a demonstration of an Irish soda bread on another video a few days ago, and it definitely had more flour in it because she had it on a floured board and then she baked it on a sheet in a round. I didn't see the finished product, but yeah, I did see it. I didn't like the look of it.
It didn't look right?
No, it didn't look right. All right, now you're just going to sprinkle it with flour, and you'll see the beautiful result here in a minute of why you do it. Not sugar, because it's not really a sweet bread. It has sugar in it, but you don't want it overly sweet.
Yeah, it's not like banana bread.
No, it's
It's a bread. You're gonna toast it and butter it.
and
Eat it with your meal.
and have it with your dinner. Yeah.
And drool over.
And oh
Yes.
my goodness. We always say, why do we have it just once a year? Okay. There, now it's ready for the oven. Okay?
Oven temperature.
350.
And what did we learn about ovens?
Yes, I'm going to share what we learned about ovens. So, many of you know that we have had quite a saga with our oven the last month or so. And I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but I'm going to tell you what happened yesterday. So the gentleman came to replace a part, and that was going to make the temperature of the oven more consistent. And he asked us some questions and what have you, and we learned a lot that, you would think after being married for 55 years and baking all this time that I would know. But what we learned was that even if you set your oven for a particular temperature and you get the beep saying that it is ready, it is not necessarily ready. And that was what was happening with mine. The time that's required for the oven to get to the proper temperature is more like 20 minutes. He said even 30 minutes is a good idea. So it really is important when you start a recipe to turn your oven on first. The other thing is that we had gotten one of the little thermometers that you could put in the oven to get an idea of its accuracy. And he said those are not very accurate. And what I had experienced was that this brand new thermometer in the newly calibrated oven was still not registering properly. And so I just never had a real secure feeling that the oven was working properly. And then it would finally reach the temperature, and then it would go over the temperature. Well, what he explained to us is this is what the oven does in the pre-bake, or in the preheat, is that it goes up and comes back down. So we learned that. And then he said, if you want to test and make sure that it's working properly, go get a can of Pillsbury biscuits. He said, if your oven is right, they will bake perfectly. And so that's what we did yesterday. We picked up some biscuits, baked them this morning. They were perfect. So we knew the oven was working correctly. Is there anything else we learned? Is that it?
Well, the temperature will show that it's at temperature, but it's not.
That's right. It will show, like this one is set for 350, and it'll show 350, and it'll beep to say it's at 350, but it's not at 350 yet. So you really have to let it go through all its preheat cycles, and then it'll settle into the right temperature.
Right.
He also said, and probably you've heard this before, but every time you open up the oven to look at something inside, you pretty much have to add 10 minutes. Like if you're doing a roast beef or a turkey or something like that, every time you open the oven, you've got to add 10 minutes to the cooking time. Well, the same thing with baked goods. You know not to open the oven because with a cake, sometimes the cake will fall. And so don't open your oven. Just look through the window.
Well, that's why you need to keep it clean. So I have to open mine because the window on my oven is not clean enough for me to be able to see, because we cook our bacon in the oven, and that just makes a mess.
Yeah. So there is that. Okay, so let me show you the finished product, because as I said, this is going to take a while. Now, the other thing, on the recipe, I said that when I've baked this in the past, that in a 350 degree oven, it took 60 minutes, and it was faithful to be 60 minutes. But today, when I baked this one, it was 53 minutes. Now remember, we've talked about always backing off.
Yeah, back off your time.
Back off your time. So I set the timer for 50 minutes and then added 3 minutes. And I tested it. And let me show you how I tested it. Here's the finished product. And it has, and this has happened every time. I was a little bit concerned because it really raised up and then it fell a little bit after it had cooled or during the cooling process. And so this is the finished product, and this is how it's supposed to look. But what I did was to test it, rather than going down the center,
You went in the crack?
I went in the crack because I wanted to get down in the center to make sure that it was done. And when it comes out, so it's not gooey, it's done. Okay?
Yep.
Any other comments?
It is supposed to have that crack.
It is supposed to have the crack. Yeah.
And that's why I'm thinking the loaf pan might not be the best way to do an Irish soda bread, because it's deep.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're going to get a good crack on the side, because that crack is how it's supposed to do.
Yeah, and Also, I think the other thing is, I'm not sure it would really get done
In the middle.
in the middle.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
got another question for you.
Okay.
So, I'm gonna,
How long at 350? Yeah, so she answered that. The recipe says 60 minutes, but I would say start at 50 and then check it.
Yeah.
Because you can always add time, but you can't take away time.
right, and I did set the timer, yes.
You did.
We decided also, because when we took it out, we realized that, see, it's not cracked in this one little area, but it is here, and it was had really risen. And so we decided that another thing, now with this, we'd have to open the
You'd
oven
have
to
to open
turn
the
it.
oven to turn it. But, I mean, it's up to you.
Yeah, so if you wanted to do that, if you wanted to at halfway point, open it up and turn it, but
I don't think you need to.
I don't
'cause
think you
it fell
need to.
back like it was
It did.
supposed to.
Yeah. So let's cut into it.
You said earlier something about the, what is this? The pan you cook the bread in? Yeah, she used a regular cake pan, but that had a removable bottom. But you could use any cake pan. Was it an 8-inch? 8-inch?
It was
9
9
inch?
inch. Yeah. And the reason why I used it is because then I could lift it up from the bottom and just put it right on here. See, the bottom of the pan is
Yeah.
still there.
But you could use a regular cake pan and flip it out.
Yeah, I just didn't want to have to flip it because of the flour on top. I wanted to be able to just lift it up. So,
Yeah.
all right, let me get a little.
Do you need a plate to put it on?
I do, yeah.
Your hand's not a plate, Dad.
Oh, no. And this is a big slice. I probably should cut that in half. Oh, look at that.
Oh my goodness.
That's perfection.
That's a big piece.
It
Now
is
I'm
big.
gonna handle it because I'm gonna show you that it's not cake.
It's not cake.
Because it's doughy like a bread. It doesn't have the same crumb as a cake.
Yeah.
Pardon me. Oh,
Yeah, it's so
that's
good.
so good. You can taste the orange zest. I've never made it with the orange zest.
No.
I haven't made your recipe.
Okay.
It's good. It tastes just like Irish soda bread.
Yeah, and I'm really pleased that it did cook all the way through, even with the 53 minutes. So yay oven.
Yay!
And Mr. Sam, who took care of our oven yesterday. Yeah, I'm really
Yeah,
pleased.
looks really, really,
Yeah.
really good.
And again, it's not a sweet bread.
No.
It has that little bit of sugar in it, but it's not a sweet bread, so it is perfect for your Irish stew, your corned beef and cabbage, which is what we're going to have Tuesday, and colcannon and
We're doing bangers and mash.
bangers and mash. Yeah, it's just great for that. And then, as I said, for breakfast, I'm sending this one home with Jen because we've got another one in the oven. But for breakfast, just to slice it and butter it. Oh my word, it's so good.
Toasted.
Toasted, yes, and
Yeah.
buttered.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you don't have to cut it in a wedge like this. Probably what I would do is cut it in half, and then I would cut slices out of each half.
Yes.
So that you're actually getting a slice. This looks like cake because it's in a wedge.
Right.
But if you want it to look more like
bread.
like bread, I cut it in half, and then I cut slices out of that half.
Right. Yeah, very good.
Yeah. And the slices are, about 1/2 inch thick.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever works best, like in the toaster,
Yeah.
for one thing. But for your Irish, for your St. Patrick's dinner or whatever, just cook it close to your dinner time and have it warm right out of the oven, and it's just
Fabulous.
awesome.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to take a short break. It is about 7:50. We'll take a 10-minute break and come back at 8. And then we'll spend half an hour maybe a little bit longer, showcasing the 6 teas that I brought for spring and St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
And then we'll be done.
And if you have any more questions, be sure and go ahead and
post those comments.
post those.
And so 10 minutes for a potty break, refresh your tea or your beverage, whatever it is, and come back at 8 o'clock. Okay?
See you then.
Welcome back. I believe it's 8 o'clock. And so we are going into the tea portion of our demo tonight. And so I brought 6 teas that are spring / St. Patrick's themed for you guys to show. And I'm going to demonstrate 3 by brewing. I'm going to brew 3 of them so you can see what they look like. I wish there was a way to convey the smell for you, but unfortunately that's not to be yet. I'm waiting for Elon Musk to create that technology. If anybody can do it, he can, I believe. So, okay, so I'll get right to it. So I'm going to show you the 6 teas, and I'm going to show you the 3 that I'm not going to demonstrate first, and then I'll show you the 3 that I am going to demonstrate. So the first one is Irish coffee, and this is a black tea, but it's a black rooibos blend that is Irish coffee flavor. It's got, it does have coffee beans in it. And it has the flavor of Irish cream and all that distinctive flavor. I think brown sugar is also one of the flavors in Irish coffee. It's one of my favorites. It's a nice in-between. If you drink coffee and you drink tea, this is a great combination of both flavors. You do get a little hint of that coffee flavor in the tea, and I think it's great. I drink a lot of this, actually. But it does actually have coffee in it. So if you're sensitive to caffeine, know that coffee has a higher caffeine content than tea does. And so it's going to be a higher caffeine, a little bit. It does have rooibos in it too. But anyway, so that's Irish coffee. And that is a black tea. I think it also has a little bit of caramel flavor in it. So anyway, so that's the Irish coffee. Next is Pot of Gold, which is the rooibos version of Luck of the Irish. So if you like that chocolate and mint flavor, but you don't want the caffeine of the black tea, the Pot of Gold is the one for you. It's that chocolate. No, this one doesn't have chocolate. Yes, it does. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It does have chocolate flavor. It doesn't have actual chocolate in it, but the rooibos is chocolate flavored.
Yeah, it's the chocolate mint, and it's absolute. I could drink this all year long.
Yeah,
I love it so much.
I should just offer it all year, but I don't. And it does have shamrock sprinkles in it. It's hard to see them in the tin here, but it does have the shamrocks in it. And it does have almonds, so if you're allergic to almonds, be aware that this does have almonds, actual almonds in it, not just the flavor. Right. And so that's Pot of Gold. And then coconut cream egg is great for spring, and it is exactly like it sounds. It's a black tea. It's got coconut, chocolate, and it's fabulous.
It is.
It's just like a Cadbury cream egg in a teacup.
It is.
And this is a black tea. And so those are the 3 I am not demonstrating. I'm not going to brew these tonight. But then I am going to brew Luck of the Irish, which is our giveaway tea tonight. And so this is black tea, chocolate, peppermint flavor with the little shamrocks in it. And it's a great tea. I could drink this all year round too. I'll try to offer it all year round, but I try to make it special. So
I know. But if you some of you may be put off by the mint, but don't be, because it's not heavy with mint at all. It's just a hint of the mint, and it is just so good.
Yeah, and chocolate and mint go together so well.
They do.
And it's a great tea. So I am going to brew the Luck of the Irish, and it is the giveaway, which is the 3-ounce tin. That's the tea that you're getting in this 3-ounce tin, and the key phrase is Tin Luck. But I'll reiterate that at the end as well. And then I'm going to demonstrate a rooibos Springtime Blossoms. This is rooibos with strawberry, almonds. It's got rose petals, and it does have flower candy sprinkles in it.
And rose hips.
Yeah. And it's a nice rooibos tea. It's good year round.
It really is. Yeah.
But it's Springtime Blossoms, and I am going to brew this. And then I'm gonna also show you vanilla blueberry, which is a green tea. It's gunpowder green tea, which is different than what you may be used to seeing in a typical green tea, which is more leafy and grass-like. Gunpowder green is rolled, and so you get these really interesting, that's the green tea. They roll it up.
Yeah.
And it is a stronger green tea.
It got its name because it looks like gunpowder.
Right. Yeah.
How is that different from the pot? I think the question, how is that different from the pot of gold? The Luck of the Irish is a black tea. Pot of gold is rooibos. And that's the main difference.
And that's a decaf.
Yeah, the rooibos is decaf and the black tea is not. And it's the same flavor profile between the two, although there's no almond in the black tea.
Right.
But there is almond in the rooibos tea.
Right.
So those are the differences. But going back to the vanilla blueberry, I really love this tea. It's a nice, if you like a stronger green tea, the gunpowder green tea is more full-bodied green tea. But it actually has blueberries in it, like freeze-dried blueberries. Here, I'll take it out so you can see. There's a blueberry bit.
Now, do you brew this one just 2 minutes?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just 2 minutes.
Just 2 minutes, or it gets like we repeat this
Yeah.
ad nauseum. Green tea is really, really bitter if you oversteep it. The same holds true with gunpowder, and even more so.
Yeah. Even more
I
so.
don't brew this more than 2 minutes.
Right.
2 minutes.
And that's the advantage to using a tea sack, because you can brew the 2 minutes and then just take the tea sack
And get it out. Yeah. But here, look, here's a whole blueberry. It's the freeze-dried blueberries that are in the gunpowder.
And that would be good iced, I bet.
Yes, it is good iced.
Yeah.
And I do add a little bit of
As is
sweetener
that one.
to the gunpowder. So the gunpowder, it has a really distinctive flavor,
Yeah.
and I do prefer it sweetened.
Yeah, I do too. I agree.
But the vanilla, it's vanilla and blueberry in the gunpowder. Okay. Okay, so these are the 3 teas that I'm going to brew. So I'm going to use tea sacks. And so I have 3 size tea sacks, and if you've been with us, you've seen these. This is the size 1, and this is good for a mug. This is a size 2, and I have the other boxes in my bin somewhere. I sell size 1, which is good for 1 mug, and then the size 2, which is for a larger mug or even a really small teapot, and then the size 3 is for a larger teapot. But I'm using the size 2 because I am doing a pot, but I'm not doing a full pot.
Which one are you going to do first?
I'm going to do the Luck of the Irish first.
Because
The water's hot. I just took it off of the thing.
did you? Okay. All right.
Trust me.
Okay.
Trust me.
Just wanted it to be boiled.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I literally took it off of the thing right before we came back. I could do the springtime blossoms and let that sit while I do a different one. So you know what?
Yeah.
I will do that. I'm going to start with the springtime blossoms, which is the rooibos. And so here's how I load the tea sack. So I open up the tea sack and I fluff out the bottom, and I hold it like this with the flap down, and I bring the perfect cup of teaspoon in, and then I turn the spoon to empty it once it's in the sack, and it goes in and you don't spill any. And so I'm doing 2 spoons into the tea sack. So I put it in, turn it, right? Just 2, you think, is enough? Or should I add a third?
Well, are you just going to put in 10
Enough
ounces?
for, yeah. Yeah, so 2, each cup spoon does
Yeah, 1
5 to 6 ounces.
Right.
And so I did 2 to give me 10 or 12 ounces of tea, depending on how strong you
Right.
want it. If you want stronger tea, add more tea.
More tea.
You don't add thyme, you add tea if you want it stronger. So I'm going to do 10 ounces of liquid with the springtime blossoms. And so we'll pour this in. It's hard for me to tell how much. Is that about right?
Probably. Yep.
Okay. So We're gonna let that steep. And so rooibos steeps for 3 to 5 minutes. And so I'm gonna let that sit. And you can't oversteep rooibos. Rooibos is the most forgiving of all of the teas, and it's not really a tea, it's a tisane. But it's the most forgiving, and so Pop, you can put 5 minutes on that, and that'll give me time to brew the black tea.
May I answer this one?
You may.
Okay. This question, and I don't know who it's from, but it said, at what age would you recommend children can start drinking tea? And do English children drink tea? I would say that
As long
that's up to you. I have always been very careful with little ones not to serve them black tea because of the caffeine and because it would excite them and kind of keep them awake from naps and what have you. But rooibos is great, herbal is great, and as a matter of fact, when our granddaughters were young, we would have tea parties and they would drink cup after cup after cup.
Molly can take she can put away a whole pot.
She can put a whole pot. And as a matter of fact, our other granddaughter, Olivia, I took her to tea one time at a tea room that was serving my tea. They had pot of gold, and she drank 2 pots of pot of gold. She just loved it so much. So anyway, children can drink herbals, rooibos, even white tea, which doesn't have as much caffeine. But in England, children are brought up on tea rather early, but when they're in the nursery, which can be up to, even 8 or 9 years old, they'll have what's called cambric tea. And basically it's milk, warmed milk or heated milk with just a little bit of tea in it. And it has cambric is the color of a fabric that's almost like muslin, maybe a little bit darker than muslin. So you think about just barely giving the milk some color with tea. And that's what they'll grow up with first. And then they'll graduate to having a regular tea.
But when we lived in England, my favorite was English breakfast tea. And I drank that as a child.
She did, because we didn't really know any better.
Didn't know. And it's not like I was drinking tea
No.
all the time, but when we had tea, I was having English breakfast tea, which is a really strong black tea.
It is.
And it's still one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I also drank Earl Grey as a kid when we lived in England. So
That's probably the only 2 we bought back then.
yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
all we bought back then.
And you were 6.
And I was 6 or 7.
Yeah.
When I started drinking tea.
And even
So,
Jane, who would have been 4 or 5, she was drinking tea as
yeah.
well.
It had a lot of milk in it and
Yeah.
a lot of sugar, but it was definitely a black tea.
Yeah.
So it's up to you
Yeah.
what you want to do in terms of introducing children to tea. I introduced Molly to tea pretty young, but it was definitely herbal first, and then she graduated to black tea a few years ago. Her favorite is vanilla cream.
I think the little ones, especially girls, are not so much, well, in the case of our granddaughters, they were attracted to the color.
Yeah.
Like Molly wanted purple tea.
Yeah.
So there was one particular tea that I carried that if you added milk to it, it came out this beautiful violet color.
Yeah.
And that's what she wanted. She wanted purple tea.
Yeah. Yeah. But she does drink black tea, and she can put away an entire pot, like a 6-cup pot of vanilla cream all by herself. Crazy.
She's 13.
Yeah. Almost.
Almost 13.
Almost 13. Okay, so I put a timer on the black and the green tea. So I did so the rooibos has another 1.5 minutes. The black tea has, and the green tea have another 20 seconds or so. Because I did the black tea and set it for 3 minutes. And then in that first minute, I set the green tea. And by the time the green tea was ready to go, that was at the 2-minute mark. And so when my timer goes off in 5 seconds, I'm going to take the tea sacks out of the pots for the black and the green teas and decant those. And so I'm going to do the black tea first, really quick. Okay, I'm using the tea bag squeezer for the tea sack, and so that it's a little tight, but you just get it around and you want to squeeze all that tea out into the pot. Come on, go. There we go. Get all that. I can smell it. Can you smell it? Okay, and then I'm gonna dump it in this bowl, and I'll decant that in a second. Doesn't fit right. And then the green tea you want to get out, or it's gonna be bitter. I can't emphasize that enough. You don't want bitter green tea.
No.
And I can smell the blueberry. Can you smell it? I may have to drink this one. I haven't had the... Okay, and now our rooibos is ready. Okay, so we have green tea and then our rooibos. And that looks good. We've got some good looking teas in here. Squeeze that out. I love these tea bag squeezers. It's great. All right, so all of our teas are ready to go. I'm gonna start with the black tea, the Luck of the Irish over here. And I'm gonna pour that into the cup, and Lord willing, it's gonna be the right color, and it looks pretty good. So that's the Luck of the Irish, black tea. It has a nice amber color. Yay, thank you. And then this is the Springtime Blossoms, the rooibos, and compared to the black tea, it's gonna be a little redder. And that looks pretty good too.
It's got that, the sprinkles, but also the rose hips, I think,
Add a
some
little
of the color.
little color. And then the green tea will be a pale yellow color. Maybe maybe a little bit darker because of the blueberries.
Yeah.
Because
Isn't that
they
great?
are freeze-dried blueberries.
Right.
They're actual blueberries in there. So you can see the hint of the blue
Yeah, that's beautiful.
that's in that green tea, and that's a nice color on the green
Yes.
tea there. And
Beautiful.
so those are our 3 teas. That was fast.
It was fast. And I want to mention something, and probably a lot of you have heard this, but I want to just mention this to those who have not heard this. You want to know how to set the lid back on your teapot. It's important, and it's important for a very good reason. See the little knob here on this side? The knob always goes towards the handle. And the reason for that is because you shouldn't have to, or sometimes you can't, hold onto the lid to pour. But with the knob, that lid is not going to come off.
Right.
So always have the knob towards the handle, and your the lid on your teapot will not come off when you pour.
Yep. I was asked, do you not use the T-clips on the teapots? You can. I just didn't bring any T-clips to use, and that was a failure on my part.
You want to have
So-
me bring one?
Yeah. If Marmee has one, she'll bring, and we'll put one of the T-sacks back in the pot showing the clip on the outside to show the use of the T-clip. But absolutely, yeah, the T-clip would be great because you can fold over your T-sack and keep it from falling into the pot. I just draped the side of the T-sack over the pot. So I'll show you what I meant. So this is a T-clip. This is one version of the T-clip. It's just a little alligator clip with a beaded extender. And so typically you would fold over this flap on the T-sack and put the clip to hold it closed. My hands are not working tonight. And then you put your T-sack in, you'll pour your water over, and you have your clip hanging over the side. It will keep the T-sack from falling into the pot so that you can't get it out of the hot water, and it also helps you pull it out. But when I did it, I just draped the T-sack. If you don't have a clip, and I do sell these, if you don't have a clip, you can just, if your teapot, if it works, you can just drape it over the side and use the lid to hold it to keep
Yeah.
it from falling in.
What I have found is that this is really handy when you have a larger pot and you're brewing more tea.
Yeah.
Because you've got that hot liquid up towards the top.
I didn't
and-
have liquid all the way up.
Right.
Yeah.
And that tea sack wants to sink.
Yeah.
And so this will really keep it from sinking, and then especially when you're ready to take it out, it's
Yeah.
going to help you
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, if I had been doing a full pot,
Yeah.
I for sure would have made sure I had one of these,
Yeah.
but I didn't do a full pot. Like, there's barely any tea in here because I just did a little bit
Right.
to demonstrate for you guys. But that's what you do. So actually, Kevin was gifted some tea bags at Christmas, and he's out. He went. Can you
Oh, we'll
believe?
have to get some more.
I know. I was going to ask you to get more.
We have to go back to England to
You have
get
to get
Kevin
some
more tea bags.
more tea bags. But the bags did not have a string on them.
Right.
And so he would put the clip on the bag, and he would do it directly in his Tea for All Reasons thermal mug. And what's great about these, and I'll take my lid off. Now I've just got water in here. So he would have his tea bag in there, and then this wire, he would clip over the side.
Clever. Yes.
And I don't know. Oh, that just went in my. I don't know if the woman who created these intended for that to be,
But it's.
but
Yeah.
the lip on this thermal mug is narrow enough that it works pretty well.
And I can see where this would really be useful when you're brewing tea in this cup.
Yes.
Because you're probably, with one tea bag, you're not filling it up all the way.
No.
And so, yeah, that
Yeah,
would really
and
be handy.
and it goes way down in there once
Yeah.
you get that water in there, and so this was keeping the whole thing from going into the
Right.
mug.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, and then he could pull the tea
Very
bag
good.
out. So
Okay.
yeah, these tea clips are great.
And they're decorative. I mean, they're so pretty too.
Yep.
Very
Yep.
good.
So yes, I do sell the tea clips, and we do use them. Like his tea clip, it's basically his at this point. Is all discolored.
Oh, is it?
All the wire is discolored from the tea because it's been in
Mm-hmm,
his tea. But it's fine if that happens. It just means you're using it.
That's right.
So, any other questions, comments, haiku?
And our Irish soda bread's not ready to come out of the oven yet.
Okay, someone asked what's the name of the first one, and I'm assuming the first tea is Luck of the Irish, and that is this black tea, Luck of the Irish. It's the chocolate mint black tea, and it is the giveaway tea this month. So the giveaway is this 3-ounce tin of Luck of the Irish, and the key phrase is Tin Luck, all one word, Tin Luck, TINLUCK. And I will. I'm spending the night tonight because of icy roads, but when I get home sometime in the early afternoon, I will go through all of the comments to find your entry into the drawing for the giveaway, and Molly and I will do that video.
Right. And also, I thought, maybe what I can do when this other one comes out of the oven, and I can show you that one. I can take a picture of that
Yeah.
one and post it for you to see.
Yep. Post it she'll post it on the page and in the group.
Yeah, I will.
Did you want to comment on why you put flour on the soda bread?
Yes.
I think what I said was it's really just for decoration, and rather than putting on confectioner sugar, it puts on flour. It just dresses it up.
Yeah.
Just makes it look nice.
It's like why bakers put flour on any other artisan bread. It's decorative.
Decorative.
Yeah. There's water
Yeah.
there. So anyway, so that's it for our demonstration. I did want to let you know, if you're in the group, you already know this because I posted about it the other day. And I said this in the group too. We're not here to be political, but we are aware of what's going on in the world and have concern for the refugees coming out of Ukraine with the invasion there. And so I had been praying about how I could help in some way. I know we're all looking for how can we help. And some friends of mine who were missionaries in Ukraine and lived in Ukraine, but also work for the State Department and were assigned to Ukraine for a while. They have contacts and know reputable charities and everything. So she had posted a link to a reputable charity that is receiving funds for helping the refugees now, and then helping to rebuild, in their particular case, to rebuild churches and communities after whenever the after is. And so that I have that linked in the group, and if you want to join the group, that's facebook.com/ I think it's /groups/Tea for All Reasons, as all one word. You'll find the group, and it is a private group, so you have to answer a couple questions to be accepted into the group. And I do have a pinned post, I think it's in the featured section, about this charity with the link. They are Voice of Ukraine. And they are raising funds to help the refugees currently. And so anyway, the point being, I am going to donate 5% of all revenue starting in March for however long to Voice of Ukraine to help that effort. And I just wanted to let you know your purchases that are going to help in that way. It's a small amount, but it's every penny helps, especially
helps.
with the millions of refugees at this point that are in Poland and Romania and a couple other countries in Europe. So anyway, if you want to know more and you can't find the group or whatever, you can email me or you can message through the page, and I'd be happy to send you that link if you want to give directly to them as well. And so I did want to share that.
Okay. And hubby had the idea of maybe taking the camera over and at least showing you the bread through the oven window. I'm not going to open the door.
We can do that, but before you do that, well, no, go ahead, and then
Okay.
we'll wrap it up.
Okay. I don't know if you're going to be able to see very well through the door.
But it looks beautiful. Well, see, your oven's nice and clean. It's like you never cook.
Cleanish. Okay. Yeah, we'll take a picture for sure when it's all done in about 10 minutes.
Says 7.
Well, yeah, but
7
that's
more minutes.
allowing for an extra 3 minutes if necessary. So.
Okay, so so the final thing, as always, just a reminder of the giveaway: tin luck for the Luck of the Irish 3-ounce tin, and our next Facebook Live, I think it's just me, is April 23rd. So
We'll be buying Kevin tea.
yes,
Right.
they're leaving, and so it'll be just me, a short little Tea for Mom. Facebook Live from world headquarters of Tea for All Reasons.
That's right.
On April 23rd. There will not be a live in May because they're still going to be gone and I'm going to be traveling as well. And May is crazy. And so there will not be a live in May, but we are doing a live in June, and I believe it's going to be great from what we've talked about.
Yeah, should we tell them?
Sure.
I think it's going to be how to make lemon curd.
Yes.
That's the cooking portion anyway.
Yeah, in June. And
June.
so, and I don't think we have a date on that yet.
No.
But I'll create the event on the page here, and any updates on the cookbook. Oh, ladies, it's gonna be a while before we have a cookbook. So
I did pull out my files and I did start making stacks. I told her tonight, I said, I've got a stack or two. And so there's been a little bit of progress.
Yeah, I have done nothing except, I could use this recipe as I've made dinner one night. I'm like, I need to write this down. I do a lot of cooking off of my head, so I don't have anything written down for a lot of the things that I do, and so I'm going to have to write them down, and we have to take pictures. Are we taking photographs?
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to be...
You want us to take photographs, don't you? Yes.
Yeah. So it's going to be a year or two before we have a cookbook.
Yeah.
It takes a long time to write a cookbook, let me just say. And I follow some bloggers who've done cookbooks, and it is literally at least a year before you have enough content for a cookbook, and from your recipes to your photographs, and before you even start to put the actual pages together.
Yeah.
So, and we're doing this ourselves.
Yeah, and I suspect that there are going to be a lot of cooking sessions over here.
Yeah.
Together,
Yeah.
because of the labor-intensive matter of baking or cooking everything, but also getting them photo ready.
Yeah, so part of it is you want consistent photos, and so while I could take photos in my kitchen, she can take photos in her kitchen. You really want all your photos to look like they came out of the same kitchen.
Yeah, and the same size, and
the same backgrounds and everything. So so it's going to be a while before we have a cookbook.
We don't have a vision for it yet. We have to come up with a vision first.
Yeah,
So
for
you're
the
saying next Tuesday?
No,
No.
we're saying maybe next year.
next year, but
Maybe.
we are going to. So we have foodforallreasons.com.
Yeah. We need to work on that.
Which we have not been very good about posting recipes at that website. I think as a preparation for the cookbook is we will start posting recipes at that website at some point, not anytime soon, because we actually really need to revamp that website a little
We
bit.
do.
We haven't really done much with it in the last couple of years.
No, because we've been working on so many
Busy.
other things, but that's true. And then remember, the Tea for All Reasons cookbook is still available.
Yep.
It is becoming in short supply, so if you don't have your copy, it's good to buy one, because we're down to the last the last 40, I think.
Okay.
That's all we have left.
Okay.
So yeah, so we need to, encourage you all, if you don't have one yet, to get one of these, because we're not doing a reprint on this.
Yep. Okay, 2 questions. To make sure bread is done in the middle, do you use the same method as cake testing?
Yes, I used I didn't use a toothpick. I used, let me show you what
She
I
used a skewer. It was like a thin little skewer. It almost looked like a piece of spaghetti. I thought it was a piece of spaghetti. It was not spaghetti.
No, I've had this for years and years, and you can see how many I've used, but it started out quite full, but this is what I use. I break off one, and this is a tester. And again, I tested not just at the top,
Yeah,
but
through the side.
Through the side, because I wanted to make sure. So yes, to answer your question, it is the same as you would do for a cake. Now with a cake, very often you can just tap on the center to see if there's any resistance, and if you get a divot or a little thumbprint or something, then it's not done. But this, you can't do that because this is forming a crust on the top already. But you want to make sure that that center part is nice and.
Yeah, your timer's going. You might be able to show it. Because we got questions. So, will the recipes in the new cookbook be different than what is in the other cookbook? And the answer is yes.
There will be some old favorites.
There will be some, yeah. So we'll make sure. So for those, because the supply on the Tea for All Reasons cookbook is getting low, at some point we won't have the cream scone recipe available. But we'll make sure the cream scone recipe for sure, and this is my mom's recipe, will be in the new cookbook as well. So some of the tea recipes will be in the new cookbook.
Right.
But we're going to add savories, like actual dinners, because that's what I do. I'm not a baker. My mom is the baker. I'm a cook. I cook meals. And so I would love to share some of the meals that I do for my family that are what I created. With you guys. So someone asked if we have a good shepherd's pie recipe.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we do. And so we will put that in the cookbook. If you have other things that you're interested in, send us emails
That's a
with
great idea.
asking for, do you have a recipe for this or that? And if we do, we'll be happy to add it to the cookbook. If we don't, we can make it happen. Okay, so Dad's going to show you the finished product.
The testing
Is it ready?
process.
I'm going to show you, but it's not quite done. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remind the temperature of the oven.
350. But it's still a little bit moist in the center, so I'm going to give it another.
That one really domed up.
It did. Let me try with 2 minutes and then try again. But I'll send a picture.
Yeah, we'll do pictures. Okay, so we can just stop right here. Okay, so that's all we have, unless we have other questions. Do we have other questions? We have a delay. We have a delay. We'll pause for a second. No more questions?
Okay. All right.
All right, but if you do come up with other questions later, you can add them to the comments and we'll see them tomorrow. I will for sure, because I literally go through every single comment to look for your tin luck tomorrow.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So
have a happy Sunday tomorrow.
Yes.
And have a happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yep, and daylight savings.
Yes. Yes, you're going to lose an hour tonight.
Yeah, push your clock forward an hour tonight.
Yeah.
It's daylight savings, our favorite time of year.
He just collapsed.
I know, just my son is like, oh, I already don't sleep enough. So,
But at least you don't have to drive home tonight.
no, we don't have to drive home tonight. So,
All right. Good night, folks.
yep.
Thanks
so,
for joining us.
And we'll see you next time.
Okay, bye.
Thanks.